Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Dyson Charles, because today's the 30th of October 2019. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website here, specifically our JFD Bank research page, which you can also check out on a daily basis, and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here for yourselves, guys. So feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and then click on the JFD research tab here on the top. Right, but for now, guys, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the DAX, so the German index. So this is what I was talking about this morning, basically, where I was telling you guys that we may see a bit of correction here to the downside. We got that, and the area for us to keep an eye on was around the 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So we also managed to get that test. We also managed to even get an overshoot here a little bit, but as you can see, the bulls are really fighting it hard, trying to fight this one back here, and for now it seems that they're quite successful in that. So let's see if the index can stay around here. If it can, then we may see another round of buying here, potentially moving this one higher, maybe towards the psychological 13,000 level or even above that. So for now, guys, long story short, basically keep your eyes on the 21 EMA for us to get comfortable with further declines, let's say, or not further, but the downside in general, where we will start considering lower areas in the short run. Then, yep, a drop below the 12,703 zone would be needed. So that's why, guys, for now, we're going to keep it short and simple. For now, all eyes are on the 21 EMA. Let's see how this is going to play out. If it holds, then, yep, that's good news for the buyers. But if the index starts dropping below the 12,703 zone, then we will consider a possible move lower. S&P 500 now also had a bit of a drop here on the opening, and but you can see the bulls are really trying to push this one back up here. Of course, this is just the start of the day, so anything can happen. But what I was saying previously, that even as long as it remains, let's say, above this above the previous all-time high, which was around the 3028 zone, right around here, we will continue to stay positive. We'll continue aiming for higher levels because we'll class this as a temporary correction. But if the index starts dropping below the 3000 level here, around here, guys, then this is where everything could change, and we could see a bit of declines, at least in the short run. Then we'll take it from there, see what he wants to do after. But yeah, guys, that's why be very careful with this one. For now, yes, it is correcting a little bit lower, but let's see how this is going to play out. But for now, we are still a little bit more on the bullish side, but we need to see that confirmation kind of reversal back to the upside. So let's keep an eye on this one. And for those who are in the way are on the cautious side, what you could do here is just probably sit this one out and just wait until we get a push above the yesterday's all-time high, or the new all-time high that was established, and that was around the 3048 zone. So a nice good pop above it would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could then, yep, aim for much higher levels. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Jumping into a few other instruments now, the WTI oil. Now this is quite an interesting one here. So overall, what I wanted to show you here is, of course, looking at this 4-hour chart, the commodity managed to get itself back above its 200 EMA. As you can see, it continues to kind of support the price from kind of moving lower. And of course, for now, yes, we will aim for slightly higher levels. We're going to keep it careful here because in a way this could reverse any moment, because we don't have really much kind of activity happening lately. So in a way, there's not a lot of things that could support the price here for now. But again, from the technical side, it seems that it could still continue pushing higher. And what I also wanted to show you here, guys, is that we continue to trade above this little tentative upside support line here, taken from the high, or from the low of the 9th of October. And also at the same time, there is a bit of a channel here happening. So that's why, guys, keep an eye on this one. So that's why from the technical side, everything's kind of looking quite okay-ish for WTI oil. But again, if any negative headlines comes out, and that could put the price under pressure here, then a drop below this lower side of the rising channel, then yep, we will consider a possible move back down. Certain levels to watch out for, of course, this the lowest point of October near the 50.97 zone, and then yep, we'll keep it short and simple. Let's put it that way. For now, basically, as long as it remains inside this rising channel formation, we are going to stay somewhat positive. Of course, we'll with a pinch of salt, just in case something really comes out and pushes the price down. But if it stays like this, quiet, I would say, then we may continue seeing this one drifting a little bit higher here. And in this upside channel, kind of the slope is kind of in a way perfectly showing the current quietness, I would say, right now. So that's why, guys, for now, keep this in mind. In a way, how you could play this one out is keep your from the short-term perspective, of course, keep your eyes on the high of yesterday near the 55.87 zone. A nice good push above this could, in a way, lead the commodity towards the high of this week near the 56.89 zone, and then we'll take it from there, see what it wants to do after. But maybe we'll go higher here towards the upper side of the rising channel, and yep, it will be very interesting to see if it actually can drift further north. But for now, that's the situation. So just wanted to kind of run this one by you. USD CAD. So USD CAD popped nicely to the upside for now, and this is what I was talking about this morning, basically. So we may see a bit of a correction here to the downside. We got that. We even had an overshoot below the pivot here today. We tested the 21 EMA, and this is also what I was talking about, and we got our push higher. We managed to break above the 1.31 zone and traveled all the way towards the 1.3123 and above that even. So for now, everything seems to be positive, looking quite positive for USD CAD. The only thing is that, don't get me wrong, be very careful on this one still. We do have the FOMC later on today. Let me just double check my calendar. So we do have the FOMC statement later on, so it may kind of put a bit of pressure on the dollar, but then again, that's a bit of speculation here. So that's why for now, yes, the bulls are enjoying their moment, but let's see if they can actually maintain this rally. If they can, then we could see a further push north here towards the 1.3166 or even the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. But if they're unsuccessful, and if we see, and let me just actually remove this arrow a little bit from here, and if we see the rate falling back below the 1.3123 zone, now this is where traders should be a little bit cautious, and the bulls should be a little bit cautious, because in a way it could increase the chances for a move back down. That said, for us to get a little bit comfortable now with the downside again, a drop below the 1.31 zone would be needed. So that's why, even though we would see, if we would see a drop below the 1.3123, this is our little kind of cautious territory. We'll remain careful here, but if it starts sliding back below the 1.31, then yep, in a way, this increases the chances of a further move down here. So, but for now, as long as it remains above the 1.3123, everything's kind of still looking quite positive here for the for this pair. So yep, keep your eyes on the 1.3166 or the 200 EMA as our potential next targets. AUDNZD. After having a nice rally here, it kind of is correcting back down a little bit. So let me actually clean up this chart a little bit. So after reaching this little area right here near the 1.0825 zone, now the pair is kind of correcting back down, and to be honest, the way it's shaping up here, in a way, it has a chance to drift back down here, maybe go for a larger correction. But the only thing is that we will consider that correction if we get a drop below this level right here near the 1.078180 zone. And just for that extra confirmation, from the very short-term perspective, of course, a drop below the 21 EMA would be needed as well. So that's why, guys, be very careful here. For now, wait for that confirmation, those confirmation breaks, and then we could, like I said, examine a possible move lower. But even then, it would be a little bit tricky here because we have all these EMAs that could also, in a way, potentially could support the rate from falling lower, and but if it continues to slide lower and continues to drop below the 200 EMA, now this is where we will consider again this little area of support here near the 1.0660 zone. So as you can see, previously it acted as a fantastic area of support here, but again, before we could start considering such levels, well, a drop below the 1.0781 would be needed. This is where we will start looking at the downside. In terms of the upside, well, we'll probably take a very cautious approach here, and we'll wait for a push above the 1.0825, and only then we will aim kind of for higher levels, because this way the pair would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, we could target these slightly higher levels. Don't get me wrong, we do have this little obstacle here, the high of the 20th of September near the 1.0840. So, but if that gets over, if the pair overcomes this one, then it could continue traveling higher further north here, and we could be targeting areas. And let me just jump into a daily chart on this one here very quickly. So then we could be targeting areas that were seen last time in November, or in the end of October and the beginning of November of 2018. So basically, just took us a year to get back to these levels. So yep. For now, guys, keep your eyes on this one. Let's see how this is going to play out. But probably from the very short-term perspective, keep your eyes on those potential breakout points. So on the downside, the 1.0780, and of course the 21 EMA, just for that extra confirmation, and on the upside the 1.0825 zone, but then be very careful around the 1.0840. We'll see how it performs around there. GBPJPY very quickly. So on this one here, and okay, so this one is a little bit stuck here, I would say. So in a way, let me just also kind of clear this chart. Basically, what we've got ourselves here is something of a squeeze a little bit. Let me just show you what I'm talking about, and that's if I okay, just a second. This one's in the way a little bit. I do apologize, guys. There we go. So we do have this little downside resistance line, and at the same time, we do have a bit of a shorter term, or actually like almost the same one, this upside line here. So they're both, I would say, they're both tentative ones, but still keep an eye. We may still squeeze something out of this. So in a way, how you could play this one out is, of course, as you can see that recently the pair is finding some resistance around here near the 140.54 zone, so roughly around here, guys. So we'll keep an eye on this level, because if we get a break of above the 140.54 zone, we would also get a break above this this little kind of triangle formation here, and this way the path higher could be open. Initially, we'll target the 141.51 zone, which is the highest point of October, or even going for higher levels. But again, we need that confirmation break first. So, and in terms of the downside here, now I do have this level here as the 138.84, but to be honest, this could be a bit of a wait here, and we could be missing out maybe on a bit of a move here. So that's why what you could do here is start looking at the 139.44 zone, which is the low of the 29th of October, and this way a drop below this would also would place the pair below the lows of this week, and below the 50 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So in a way, kind of this could create this bullish atmosphere, and bearish atmosphere, and we could see this one drifting further down. So that's why for now, guys, keep your eyes on these two levels. So on the downside, the 139.44, a nice good drop below this could in a way lead towards slightly lower areas. We're not going to drag too much to the downside, because again, this is the British pound that we're talking about, so that's still kind of very headline driven, Brexit headline driven, of course, and that's why we're going to be very careful on this one. Now, in terms of the upside here, we need to see a break of this 140.54, and then we'll take it from there. GBP Euro. A bit of an inverse one, but normally we're used to looking at the Euro GBP, but this is something a little bit different, I would say. Anyway, looking at this similar story here, we are also a little bit, I would say, coiling up a little bit. Let me just draw this one on the chart. So we do have something like this forming here as well. Also, we're waiting for a key move here out of this little triangle formation, or that's maybe a more of a veg probably. So we're waiting for a clear exit out of this, and if we get that, then yep, we will start looking at slightly higher levels. We need to see a break of the 1.1615 zone in order to consider slightly higher levels. We will then aim for the, if we get a break above this 1.1615, then yep, we will aim for the highs of October, which were around. And let me just quickly put this one on the chart for our future reference. There, boom, and exactly on this one. That's around the 1.1658. So of course it's not a lot, I do understand that, but if that gets broken, now this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could then aim for much higher levels. So that's why, guys, wait for this one, wait for the exit, and then probably act on it, because for now we're going to be neutral and just going to continue observing the price action. And the last pair for this session is going to be euro dollar, and so this one is, yes, it did have a bit of a retracement, but as you can see, it kind of failed to move below its pivot, and now the pair is kind of trying to push higher. The only thing is with the upside, as I've mentioned this yesterday and this morning as well, that we do have this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 18th of October that could limit the upside, and if it gets broken, that's wonderful. This could be opening the path towards higher levels, but with the upside, with further upside, ideally for us, we would get comfortable with 1.1154 and only then aim for further acceleration to the upside. But again, for now, from the very short-term perspective, yes, it could travel a little bit higher, test this downside line, but if this downside line kind of holds, and if the pair struggles to push above it, then of course we could be seeing something like this here, where we could then see maybe another round of selling, and potentially this one falling back below the 1.1103 zone, and then yep, maybe retesting the or should I say maybe not retesting, but testing the 1.106360 territory around its 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So for now, guys, that's the kind of our main scenario. If it stays below this downside line, then yes, we will aim for another round of selling. But if it starts breaking it to the upside, then well, this could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers. So guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you guys stay safe, be very careful, have your stop losses in place, and yep, guys, I'll see you tomorrow at my Traders Espresso at that 7 o'clock GMT time. So, yep, thank you very much, and bye-bye.